I'm Nikki Poey, again for those who don't know me. I teach English 2 at Godby, and I'm presenting on a fun vocabulary game called Vocab Word. So this is actually presented to me by the 10th grade English department team, and they did a really amazing job at making vocabulary accessible to our kids as well as just something really fun for them to do. So what we do is we give them 5 different words, which you can see are the ones that are in bold. And with those 5 words, we have them define it. And then after they define it, they have those 5 vocab words that then they have to get this sheet and they use the words in the key here, and they have to find out which are the synonyms and which are the antonyms for each. So instead of them just learning 5 different words, they end up knowing far more, which is like really great because they don't really have an opportunity to sit there and learn 30 words from the dictionary. So instead, what we do is with the synonyms, they're getting kind of a sample of these words. And then we display it up on the board. So like that, we'll have this up on the board, and then in teams, they have to decide where the synonyms and where the antonyms go. And of course, it's really high stakes. We offer candy to the winner. So everyone always wants to be the winner because we get the good stuff. We get stickers. And yeah, at first I wasn't sure this was gonna work because I felt like kids would not get excited about words like, you know, unadulterated and humility and things like that, but they actually are far more competitive than I think I realized. So they definitely want to win. And then we give them a little test, a quiz at the end on the 5 original words, and you'd be surprised how often they actually learn the words and I guess more in depth than you would have originally thought. So I think something like this would be really great to have for something like Spanish. It could easily be translated to something for Spanish or for science sometimes. I know science has certain vocab and stuff like that. So yeah, it's pretty simple, pretty easy. I think I'm well under my 7 minutes.
Nikki, I have a question.
Yes.
So I covered Mage's class. She also teaches 10th grade, and they were doing their vocabulary words. So basically, she had to leave suddenly, so I was just covering her class, and the kids explained it to me. And they ran the game. It was hilarious because they had everything down. They knew how to keep score, they whatever. And the groups would have this big discussion about where the word made words would go. And then the kids would go up from each group and write, like when their group's turn, they would write an antonym or a synonym in the blanks up on the smartboard, and then pass the pen around and stuff. And when it got down to like the really, only a few words left, they were having some serious discussions. I mean,
right, because
real actual discussion.
Well, because then you get into words that they're, okay, so like absolute, authoritarian. There's some words that then there's like bias, discriminatory, fair, liberal. So those words all like, to students, it's hard for them to see that there's like a fine difference between them. They don't really get that subtlety. So when it gets to those last few words, they like having a discussion on, wait, why would that go there? That should go here. And then they're like, no, but think about this. It should go here. And then they're like, oh yeah, you're right. It should go there. And it's so funny because they're not really allowed to discuss it when they're up there. Like they're not allowed to discuss it with their teammates. They have to make that decision before they go up there. But as they go up there to write the word in, you'll hear like half the class go, you sure about that? Like, oh, shh, like let them mess up. But yeah, with these words, and what's so great about synonyms and antonyms is that their difference is shades. It's very, very subtle, and I know that our students have a hard time with sometimes understanding that subtlety, and this kind of brings it to life. So it lets them discuss that and see, well, okay, well, if that doesn't fit there, then where does it go? And it allows students to kind of have that back and forth. Which is what I mean, like I would have never thought that something like this, I was kind of like, okay, let's do it, I'm a team player, whatever, but it actually ended up being that students got really, really, really into it. So, and yeah, they'll know. They'll tell you
Oh, yeah.
how to play. They'll be like, oh no, this is how it works. Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
They're like, no, you change colors on the pen for each team, and they have to use orange, and somebody else has to use
I
purple.
just keep-
I'm like,
I just keep track.
I-
Like I give them team names. They're not allowed to use their initials. They have to come up with an actual name.
So what
Yeah.
happens when they make a mistake?
The next team has a chance to steal. So they get a chance to answer theirs as well as
Okay.
one.
So you tell them if they get it wrong.
Well, I'll usually be like, okay, so is that right? And then half the class will be like, nope. Wrong. And then we'll discuss why. And then, okay, let's see, next team for a steal. We don't really want to go too in depth into it because we want to give the next team an opportunity to steal afterwards.
Do you give them a chance to work in their groups on this for a little bit before you
Yes.
start the game?
Yeah, at first we have them look up the words individually. So like the 5 words, they'll look up the actual definition on their own, and then they come together as a group with this paper.
Okay.
And what they do is they tend to like split it because they're not allowed to use their phones. That defeats the purpose. They have to use the dictionary because maybe they don't know what meekness means. So then they'll have to look up that synonym. So that's what I mean, that it kind of exposes them to a lot of different words without giving them specifically these as, I guess, vocab words.
That's cool. So they can look up the synonyms and answers too.
Yep. They have access to a dictionary and they use that.
How do you split teams?
In the past, I've let them pick teams, but recently we've been doing a whole like Hagen thing, so we split them up depending on how they perform on certain standardized tests and stuff like that. But it's worked out fine either way.
How many students per team?
Usually 4. Yeah, we don't really want much more than that, because then they have an advantage. They can hide. Yes. Oh, that's the other thing. Like we usually have them switch out. Like, okay, you've discussed it with your team, but each teammate has to have an opportunity to come up and write on the board and defend it and all that good stuff. Yeah. Any other questions? All right. Thank you.